Hello again and welcome to Vaadin Charts webinar live here on Vaadin Studios coming from Turku, Finland. I'm your host Tanja Repo and with my colleague Matti Tahvonen here
Hi.
Today we're going to talk about Vaadin Charts and we also have a guest from Highsoft all the way from Norway, Torstein online.
Hello.
Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you well.
Okay, how's the weather in Norway right now?
It's very good. No snow, but no rain either. So.
Okay. So the Olympics are going on right now, and Matti has here done some charting on the Olympics. So let's just quickly take a look at them. How we're doing with the Olympics in Sochi in Russia right now. So I think you know how Norway is doing compared to Finland.
Yeah, so this is the chart, and as you might know, there is always very good competition between Nordic countries, and Norway is leading by 13 medals, and Finland has his one proud silver medal here, so we are a bit behind, but there's still some time to catch up Norway. And if we look at the charts for all countries, Norway is actually leading in total amount of medals. But actually Germany is in the lead because they have 6 gold medals at the moment. So even Norway has something to do still in the Olympic Games.
We still have some time to catch you guys up.
With that.
So today, since we're going to talk about charts, we're going to have a special code for you guys, for viewers. Back there, I'm looking at the YouTube right now. So the code is for the discount for 20% for Vaadin Charts licenses, and the code you can see online right now, and we will post the link. It's actually vaadin.com/charge that you can find a place to purchase your Vaadin Charts license right now, and we will put it on the comments slide as well to YouTube. Okay. Should we start?
Yeah, we'll start by a short introduction to Vaadin Charts and how it's built. And it will also explain a bit why Torstein is here. And then we'll have a short coding session. We will do some actual Java coding with Vaadin Charts. And then we will be checking out some theming with Torstein. And finally we will be checking out some next big features that will be in Highcharts and finally in Vaadin Charts as well. And in the end, we'll also discuss how you should use your charts, and at the end we will have some random questions that you have sent us, and you can still try to send them via Twitter if you want, but I cannot guarantee that we will be able to take all the questions.
Yeah, in case we have some time, we will take a look at the Twitter, and you can also post your questions to the YouTube as a comment.
So Torstein is here from Highsoft, and he's the father of Highcharts library, and we are from here, Vaadin Charts. From Vaadin we are making Vaadin Charts, but let's see how these relate to each other. So, Artem, can you share my screen? Okay. So, we have some slight delay in our screen sharing at the moment, but hopefully. Okay, there we have our
It's like an Olympic
architectural image of Vaadin Charts, and it will explain how these products relate to each other. So when users are using Vaadin Charts, they are just facing Java API that we have built, but it's not actually invented here in Vaadin, but we have kind of modeled the JavaScript API on Java that has been built by Torstein at Highcharts, and this configuration object is something that is used by the server side, and it's then converted to JSON format and then sent to client side, and on the client side browser will render the actual chart using Highcharts library. And then we also have kind of another route if you want to reuse the chart on the server side. then the same configuration object is just converted on the server side with a tool called Phantom.js into SVG format that you can then reuse in your, for example, in your PDF files. So all features that are in Highcharts are not necessarily yet in Vaadin Charts, because about 1 year ago, when we launched initially the Vaadin Charts library, we only implemented in the first release the features that were existed in Torstein's demos in Highcharts. And then since a couple of releases, we have implemented more features on demand, while our end users have needed some features that we didn't have a Java API yet. So in case you find some feature that doesn't exist in Vaadin Charts, don't hesitate to create tickets to our bug tracking system, and it is usually very easy for us to add features to Vaadin Charts. So when you buy Vaadin Charts, you will also get a license to Highcharts, or you will get a special license that allows you to use Highcharts within your Vaadin applications via Vaadin Charts. So that's why Torstein is here, and because he's kind of responsible for all the features that we have in Vaadin Charts. So Torstein, can you tell us a bit how you ended up doing this charting library?
Well, Highcharts actually originated from my own demands for a website project I had. So many years ago, I wanted to show some weather charts on my website. I had this local website showing temperatures and rainfall in the area. So at the time, I went looking for charting libraries, but everything at the time was based on Flash. And I didn't want to use Flash because SVG technology was coming out in modern browsers, and old IE already had VML support. So that's how it started. I created a small prototype, and 2 or 3 years later I released the first version of Highcharts, and it was immediately a success.
Yeah.
That's 4 years ago now, and the sales have been growing steadily since then.
So what's your company nowadays like? How are you doing your business?
Well, now after 2.5 years in my own basement, I finally came out of the basement and started a company. And
so how many are you
first
now?
Thing I did was,
you don't have to sit
now
in your
we have
basement
10
anymore.
people. Yeah. The first thing I did was to hire a CEO, and we started building the company. And now we are 5 developers, 5 sales and marketing people, and in addition to that, we are 3 contractors.
So what kind of customers do you have? Do you have any kind of reference customers that are using Highcharts?
Absolutely. We have among the 100 largest companies in the world, we have 60 clients.
Okay.
And obviously, many of them we can't name because we have agreed not to do so. But
okay, let's not do it again. But you can name some.
Yeah, we can name some of them, like Facebook, Twitter, Visa, AT&T.
Yeah, I think I have heard those companies before.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think I have some of running on my iPad as well.
Yeah, probably. You also probably heard about Nokia.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Okay, let's continue with a second part where we will be doing some coding, and I really hope that our technology is now working better. There is a
small demo effect has been going on here at Vaadin Studios, but we can manage it.
Yeah, the picture is coming like 20 seconds behind me, so I hope you will be able to follow what I'm showing. So this is an example application, or oh dear, I'll need to wait a second.
Reindeer.
Oh dear, oh reindeer.
Yeah. Reindeer. Mm-hmm. Okay, there we go.
So this is the application that I built for this demo, and it has an imaginary controlling room software for some kind of factory, and it's getting some temperature readings. And the first screen is reporting temperature readings from the last week, and then there is a real-time view also that reports those temperatures like on every seconds. And we are getting those temperature readings for 3 different places, for pre-processing, post-processing, and the actual factory itself. Now we will replace in this demo these textual representations with charts, and we will go to Vaadin code and replace all the layouts that were previously used to collect those data with Vaadin Charts components. So we will replace the main layout with a chart, and here you will soon see how our new NetBeans plugin can autocomplete Vaadin charts immediately into the project. I will just need to agree the license agreement, and then the IDE will automatically add the dependency to the project and configure the POM and modify the widget set. And these layouts that we previously used to group these temperature readings, I will replace with data series. Which is a component that contains the data. And in data series, we will use data series item that will actually hold one point of data. Like that, and then data series here as well, because previously we had logic here that that grouped these labels into layouts, but now we will be grouping the data into data series. And instead of label, we will just add new data series item. Reading contains our date when the reading was actually happening and the actual temperature. Like that. Then we can also configure the actual chart a bit and set the x-axis settings, because normally the x-axis by default is just containing numbers, but here we are using dates. So let's check x-axis and set its type to date time. I'm really sorry about the delay here. It's very hard to follow what I'm doing here.
You guys should see what I see
in
here.
In real lifetime, I can guarantee that I'm a bit faster coder.
That's what he said.
Oh, so let's start with, now let's open the same application again. And okay, we still have an empty chart, but I think I just forgot to add these data series into the actual chart. So get configuration and set set data series like that, and there we can add main, pre and post like that. Okay, finally the picture is coming also there.
Yeah, okay.
And now we can see the temperature readings there. Now, next we will replace also the real-time view with the same thing. And I think I will not be explaining that much about it because it's pretty much the same. But here we will have just, we will be notified by our service each second. Chart, that's those same. Main, pre and post. And now as we are getting these temperatures here in real time, we will be adding new data items to the existing data series. Like that, and we will also code a logic that will automatically remove the first data items from the chart if there is too many data items there. So I will give shift if there is more than 5 items in a series, and modify the addition call so that there is true, which means automatically update the chart, and then shift if the first one should be removed. So now once just the picture comes to the screen, we should have also the real-time view modified. Oh, I'm really sorry about this. So now the service is sending events to our application that there are new points, and the chart is immediately adding. And now when there is more than 5 points, it starts to remove those points there from the left side of the chart. So all these changes are now happening so that only these new points are sent from the server to the client, and there is very little communication actually going on between the server and the client. So even if there was lots of points there on the screen, then the communication would still be like negligible amount of data, so it's very efficient also. So because the technique is today what it is, I think we will end this example now and go and start talking about theming. That's something that our customers are quite often asking from us, that how can they make their charts look like such that they suit well for their overall theme for their application and their, for example, they want to use the same colors that they have in their logos. I think Torstein can give us a short introduction to theming about charts.
Yes.
Sure. Theming in Highcharts is done through setting chart options on a global level. So the way Highcharts is built, you set a bunch of JSON configurations to each chart, but when you do theming, you can use this same configuration syntax globally. So you call an option called set options, or rather a method called set options prior to instantiating any chart in the page. So the way we do this is we call Highcharts set options, and so if we, for example, we want to style all our charts with the company colors. Say we have black background. And then we have a fixed set of chart colors. Something like that. All right. So we run this, and it looks like this. What happens now is if we create another chart in the same page, we copy the instantiation structure, and we make different types. Say we want to draw a column chart, and it inherits the same styles.
Yeah. Can you use CSS with these themes?
CSS, yes, you can do CSS to a certain extent, but initially, and I'll just show you a quick example of setting. You can, for example, do a Highcharts series path, color it red, I guess. No, it's not color, it's stroke. So like this.
Yeah.
So you can do styling on the SVG. The downside with this is that it is not supported by VML. So old IE browsers like IE 8, 7, and 6 use a different technology for vector graphics rendering called VML. And that's the reason why Highcharts is not optimized for doing CSS styling directly, like for instance D3 is.
And that's a very viable reason for average Vaadin users as well, because lots of Vaadin applications are big business applications where users are having their pretty old Internet Explorer browsers in big companies. So
exactly. Yeah. So we see a lot of that too, running intranets and business applications on old systems. There's also another reason for doing this is because I came from a project called HighSlide, and over and over again I saw that the separation between markup and styling and theming between JS and CSS was confusing to novice users. But anyway, VML is getting less and less used, so Highcharts will in the future also provide a pure CSS version where all styling is done in CSS.
Yeah.
And we are getting signals that this is the way designers expect.
Yeah, I already know some fellows here in Vaadin who are eagerly waiting for that feature, because they are most often working with mainly just CSS when they are theming applications, so they would like to do the same for charts, of course, but that will be somewhere in the future.
Yes. I'm very looking forward to that because it's a logical separation between content and styling, and that's the way designers are used to work. But obviously this can't be used in business applications that are meant to support VML.
Yeah. We could now check out how I cheated while you were talking about themes. So my screen is still lagging a bit behind, but in the meantime I coded an example to our application that is using a customized theme. So pretty much in the same manner as Torstein just explained in the Highcharts itself, you can use themes in Vaadin Charts. And in the same way, it's page global options. It's called chart options, the class, and it's per UI class. So you just call Highcharts and get chart options and get, and then set theme. And as a theme, I used the previous theme from Highcharts. In Highcharts demos, you will see lots of different kind of themes, and I used the gray theme there, but modified it a bit to disable border radius from the background, and also I set the gradient color. I replaced the gradient color with a solid color. So with Java, you can use extension here with theming. So although it's not CSS, it's rather simple to theme your applications. Next thing we could do is to talk what's coming up in next releases for Highcharts and how these changes will come to Vaadin Charts. We already discussed that the theming will change some point in the future, but I think even sooner we will get some other features.
Yes. Recently, we added a new feature to Highcharts 3, which is built-in support for drill down between data series. And the added news this time was animation, which really adds value to a drill down series because you can easily see what happens to the point as you click it, and it explodes into other points. So if you can see my screen now,
yeah, we can see your screen much better than my screen actually.
Great. Okay, so if I click this is an overview over browser usage in November last year, and if I click the Chrome point, it explodes into smaller points, clearly showing that we're now drilling into the Chrome browser statistic. So, and when we go back, it animates back to the point.
Okay, so that's in.
So this is a case where
that's going to be in Highcharts 4.
It is already in Highcharts 3.
Okay, so it's already,
but not yet implemented in Vaadin.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So what about?
So this is an example of animation where animation is not just for eye candy, but it actually has a purpose.
Yeah.
So in many cases, it's just eye candy. I show you the exactly same example where the column is exchanged with the pie series. So when you click a pie slice, it animates out and takes over the whole pie like this.
Okay. So this is definitely a feature that we need to implement in Vaadin Charts as well.
It's already become very popular among our users.
Yeah.
All right. I also want to show you for Highcharts, the news for Highcharts 4. One of the news is heat map. Heat map, which is three-dimensional charts. A three-dimensional chart where you have an x-axis, a y-axis, and for each point you have a color value signifying the value, the third dimension of the data point. So this chart shows the days during a month, and the hours during the day, and the temperature during that hour. So you can see here that it's colder in the night and it's warmer in the day. And you can also see as April goes by, you get a warmer period here.
Yeah, and we can also see that there is never 20 degrees in your in week in Norway.
Obviously, you don't get that much warmer than 20 degrees plus. Is that correct?
I must remind you, this is April.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's actually from my own house. It's my own data.
Okay.
Not inside.
No, not indoors. Outdoors, I hope. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, you see this legend here where we have built a special case of an axis called a color axis, which we put into the legend, and we put a small marker on it so that when you hover each point, you see where on the axis it's placed. And we have a gradient here showing the values. So that's the heat map. The next big thing, or actually the main big thing in Highcharts 4 is 3D charts. So this is a demo of 3D Pi. Oops, still early use there. This is the single most frequently requested feature of Highcharts today. It's a really interesting discussion on user voice on whether Highcharts should implement this or not, because many users hate 3D charts.
And why is that?
It's mainly because they are oftentimes they are not suitable for showing data, because like you can see on the column chart here. I must be careful now not to talk down Highcharts.
No. We're just looking.
This is an interesting discussion because you can't really compare values side by side.
No.
It's harder to read than
It's not readable.
Now, on the other hand, there are use cases where you add value as like this, where you can group objects in 3 dimensions. Yeah. And there are also use cases which are hard to argue, and the thing that is hardest to argue is that the client wants it. So when the client wants it, of course, we build it.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
And it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. So there's another case. In many use cases, charts are used for decoration. It's not the data and to get the data through is not the main thing sometimes. Sometimes it's just decoration, and we should think that, we should respect that, and we should make tools available for that too. All right. Well, this cylinder example, this can be used, it looks better when it's a bit bigger. This can be used to show disk sizes, for example, and a half pi, like that.
Okay. So pretty much all the charting types now have some kind of 3D options that you can configure to use them.
They do.
Some I can
and
use.
Mainly and for the, mainly columns and pies are used in 3D. So I'll go on to show you also. You also wanted to discuss how this will be available to Vaadin users.
Yeah, we can say that next big version of Vaadin Charts will definitely have these features. So, as I discussed earlier about the architecture of Vaadin Charts, it's quite easy for us to add Java API for this, and then you will have a full Java usability for the API, so you can use it in IDE and autocomplete all the options and have integrated documentation there for them. But I cannot make promises when the next big version of Vaadin Charts will be out, because even this Highcharts 4 is not yet out. But after Highcharts 4 is out, our R&D department will start working on the next version.
Torstein, just a short question here. Are you thinking of Valentine's? Probably, yeah.
Well, not really. Well, not really.
Okay.
So this is also some kind of heat map.
Yeah, you can see my screen now with the US map.
Of course we can.
I just want to give you a short glimpse of a new product we're working on, and it's soon to be released, which is Geo Maps.
So this is some kind of extension to Highcharts.
This is an extension to Highcharts, and it will be licensed as a separate product, like HighStock is today, for those who are familiar with that. It will be licensed. It will be priced about the same level as Highcharts and licensed separately. This is a map plugin, which is not. This is not the kind of map that you print out and bring to the mountains for a walk, but this is more like a chart map, or a map chart, if you like. So I just wanted to show you this chart of the counties inside the US. This is a chart with 3,300 points, and it zooms very smoothly. It probably doesn't come through on the video stream, but we're very proud of this performance here. It can also be, of course, linked to Highcharts, and you can add events to the points, and everything is very similar to Highcharts.
Yeah.
So you see now when we click on a country, we get additional information up on the right, and we can even select multiple points, so we can, for example, compare the historical population of Norway against Finland, and yeah.
Well, at least somewhere we're ahead of you.
Anything the API allows.
Yeah, and about Vaadin integration to this, I can mention that there are no official plans, at least at the
Okay, we had some minor technical issues there, but I think we're back online, so we're continuing here with Vaadin Charts webinar with Highsoft and online Torstein there. Still?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, I was about to say about this GeoMap addition that Vaadin has currently no official plans to make an add-on over this. But we will keep our eyes open. If you want this kind of feature, send us some emails or feature requests, and we'll consider to implement this in the future. But in the meantime, you can probably actually extend the Java API in Vaadin Charts and create Java API for this add-on as well. We have actually done this for some customer previously, and it's not against this actual version that Torstein has been working this winter and last autumn, but it was an older version of the same add-on which didn't have the zooming and some other features, but it was, the idea was behind the same. And you can find sources for that integration in our GitHub repository if you want to check it out. Okay. Let's discuss next with about good ways to use your charts. We actually covered this bit already because we discussed about those 3D charts, and there we came up that 3D charts is not necessarily the most informative way to display the data.
It looks good, but
yeah, but it can actually cheat you a bit. Torstein, have you heard the cliche that there are lies, damned lies, and statistics?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Funny you should mention that. I found a chart here about a lying chart. Lies, damn lies, and the y-axis, it says.
Yeah.
So if you can see my screen now, this is an example from US newspaper.
we need support from Vaadin Studios. To just a second that we can see your screen as well. So I have to talk to our director here that Our teleprompter is right now dead, and now we can see. Yes, thank you. Let's go over to Ezra Klein's Lies, Dam, and Accesses. Okay, Torstein.
Yes, the upper chart here is a newspaper claiming how much Obama increased the average budget.
Yeah.
On the right side, and as it appears that the right column is twice.
It appears quite dramatic change.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's before you read the values on the left-hand axis. And of course, if you put the y-axis to start on 0, it looks like this, which is entirely a different story.
Yeah.
So, and I also have to say that Highcharts obviously does this by default. So,
yeah.
So if you want a stupid chart like the other one, you have to actually set the option for it.
Yeah. But when you are starting to use charts, it's often very good to first think that what you want to achieve with your charts. Are you trying to emphasize something for your end users, or are you simply just showing the data so that users can find something from the data themselves? And there also you can then, when you have decided what you want to show there, then you must choose the type of chart and usage of colors there. So if you want to emphasize example for your own values to other values, then you should somehow emphasize your value with a brighter color or some stronger color, and then fade out the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creative stats.
Yeah. And also the axis type there, what's the scale, and not only the one that Torstein just showed there, but also if you are using logarithmic scale, it might actually be better in some cases, and in some cases it might be actually worse.
Yeah, in some cases that's just another lie to promote a different story.
Here you have some very colorful charts, I see.
Yeah, it's also interesting. Many people use pie charts when they really don't need to, because pie charts are best for showing how much of a certain value is as part of a whole.
Yeah.
So if you have a whole, if you have, say, all the browser users in the world, and you want to show that 25% of them are using Chrome, then a pie chart may be a good choice. But if the idea is to compare values, say you're comparing Chrome against Firefox, then a column chart is better, because it's much easier to see the different heights of the columns than the sizes of the bisectors.
Yeah, and also some users might actually be using both Firefox and Chrome. So in that case, it would be pretty much impossible, or then the pie chart just doesn't make sense if the total sum is over 100 there.
Yeah.
What about color usage? There are quite many people who don't see colors as most of us. I think it's in Finland actually the percentage is quite high. It's more than 20%, I think, on males who don't see colors properly.
Yeah, there are some good tools for this online. There's a tool called Coblis that we've used to tune the Highcharts default colors. The Highcharts default colors are tuned for many different types of color blindness, so they can be relatively safely applied.
Yeah.
But for anyone using company colors or theme colors, I'd recommend using a color blindness online tool to compare any color that are supposed to appear next to each other in say a pie chart or an area chart. Mm-hmm. So any colors appearing next to each other should be tested against all kinds of color blindness.
Yeah, and also if you are printing your charts, then you should check if you really have a color printer or not, and then also the colors may be slightly different when you print them out. So the screen can usually show more colors than average printer can.
Yeah. If you are using a black and white printer or a grayscale printer, then it's a good idea to set different dash styles on the series, the data series.
So not just colors, but also some.
Yeah.
If you are considering about chart usage, I should also suggest to visit our blog because Sami Ekblad made a great blog post just last week.
Yeah.
And he was discussing exactly these kind of issues there.
How to create readable and visual, good-looking charts.
Yeah.
So vaadin.com/blog, go and check it out from there.
Yeah, and Sami I think he was mostly focusing on these informative charts. So unless you are not just wanting them to be eye candy, then you really must check out the Sami's blog post.
Yeah, there is online. Should we move on to questions at this point?
Yeah, I think.
So let's make a game. I have questions here. Torstein, you are ready?
Yes.
And Matti is ready here, so you can answer the questions, just not raising by your hand, but you can start to answer in case you know the correct answer first.
Right.
So if I prioritize a bug that is in Vaadin charts, but is caused by an issue in Highcharts, does Vaadin have an influence on getting that fixed?
I think yes is the right answer, because we know Torstein, we know where he lives.
Whenever I see Matti's name coming up in GitHub, I shiver in my pants.
Yeah, so you can use, if you have an issue that, even though the issue is in Highcharts, but you face it with using Vaadin charts, then you can fill a ticket in our ticket system, and we will then delegate the issue to Norway and to Torstein and Torstein's team, and we will in some cases even help you. We have made some patches for you, and then we will communicate back to the original developer who had the issue, and this way we will coordinate together that the issue really gets fixed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also
we give priority to any issues coming from Vaadin.
Yeah. And also, if you want to see how it proceeds in Highcharts, you can also see their ticket system in GitHub. So they are using GitHub to store the source codes and issues, so you can follow there as well if you want to. But we will also update our tickets then that how this proceeds in GitHub.
Okay, let's move on. As it seems that I'm planning an implementation that can possibly include 1 to 5 datasets with most 50,000 data points in each. Would that be a performance problem? And do you have any guidelines for implementation on that?
Matti, you have a great server-side solution for this.
Yeah, I think using 50,000 points on a chart is not that wise actually, because there is usually only about 1,000 points or 1,000 pixels on a screen, so it actually doesn't make the chart look any sharper. Or okay, we seem to be online again. It's the second time that our video streaming application crashed. I'm very sorry about these technical issues, but
we're back.
We are back, and we were about to answer the question about large data sets.
Yeah.
That is it sane to have 50,000 points in your charts? And I was about to say that no, it doesn't make sense. You will definitely be better off if you reduce the data set on the server side, because if you reduce it already on the server side, then you don't need to move all that big data to the client. And when one thing to note when you are reducing that data is that especially if you have big steep spikes or something in your dataset, so that you have mostly low values and then you have a big value and then you return to the low values again, then especially on this kind of datasets, it's important to use correct algorithm to do the reducing, because in this case, if you just take every 10th point, for example, or make some kind of average on points, you will really lose some important details in the data. So you definitely should check our Vaadin Charts demo at demo.vaadin.com/charts, and there is a large dataset example, and check out its sources especially. There in the sources you will see some commented out examples of algorithms that you can use, and there I'd really emphasize this Raymer-Douglas-Becker reduce algorithm, and that is exactly the kind of algorithm that will pick the most important points from the chart. So using this you will not lose the shape of the graph. But Torstein can probably answer that how many points can Highcharts actually survive.
Yeah, as with many things in computing, the answer it depends.
Yeah.
But to elaborate on that, Chrome can, if you disable markers and disable anything visual on each point, you can draw like 500,000 points in Chrome.
Yeah.
But in IE you can't draw more than a few thousand, so it varies a lot. So the recommendation is, like you say, it's no point in having 500,000 points in a chart when the screen size is 1,000 pixels. So the recommendation is to do some kind of data grouping on the server. If you don't do it on the server, then Highstock, our finance package, has built-in data grouping, which groups on dates.
Yeah. And
finds either the sum or the average.
And also in Vaadin Charts you can do selection, so that you can select the existing graph and then kind of zoom in and replace the chart on the server side with the more detailed data. So you will have first the overall line, for example, and then you can zoom in and show the details there.
Yeah. So but the main thing as for the Highcharts configuration, the main thing is to hide markers and don't use column charts for big data. Use line charts or area charts, because columns are drawn one by one and it reduces performance.
Yeah. Okay.
We still have time for a few more questions, and I would continue with Vaadin CDI and add-on. So are there any known issues integrating Vaadin Charts and Vaadin CDI add-on?
No. The answer is absolutely no, because from end user's point of view or end developer's point of view, Vaadin Charts is really just a Java library. So actually, because of this question, I made the example application using CDI add-on. So it was injecting the service there in the UI class and then use the data that the service injected with CDI provided. So you can use CDI, Spring, or some real EGP POJOs or anything at all. Practically or virtually any Java library that you can use with Vaadin Charts also.
Yep. I think I'll pose the next question to Torstein. How do I use the same chart in my web app and also in my print?
You're talking about the server side. If you want to generate a server-side print, we have a back end for the exporting, which is based on Phantom.js, which is actually a WebKit browser that is able to render a chart into either PDF or PNGs or JPEG or SVG on the server. So you can either install something like that on the server, or you can, if you are based on a web page, you can print the chart directly from the web page.
Yeah.
Or just print the whole web page and the chart will.
Yeah.
print along with it.
I think that's the most commonly used setup that you should use. That just use the print button in browser or print dialog. Just print the page, and as the chart is rendered as an SVG, it will be printed very sharply, so there's no issue. And then there is this button that you discussed there in Highcharts. You can download the specific chart as a file. You can use that as well. But in Vaadin, you can also call our class called SVG generator, which will automatically launch Phantom.js on Vaadin server. And then you will get the SVG representation of the chart directly in your Vaadin code. So then you can embed the SVG in, for example, PDF generation library and reuse it there in the server-side code, like any way you want, practically.
I think we have time for one more question, and then we move forward. So, at the end, I was thinking how could we display chart in a non-UI class?
Yeah, okay. So this question is pretty much the same as using this SVG generator. So if you are not using the chart in a Vaadin UI class, then it's probably something else that you will want to have it, like in those PDF generation library. But because you can get this SVG representation, and there are very good libraries in Java that you can use SVG. It's called Matti, and using that you can actually use it even in Swing applications. So if you are making desktop application, traditional Java desktop application, then you can use Vaadin charts actually there also. So you don't even need the servlet to use Vaadin charts.
Yeah. So we have many questions still left here, and we will answer these questions later on in Vaadin forum and also at the commenting for YouTube. So all the pre-signed participants for this webinar will get their answers. And also at this point, once again, as a reminder for the discount code for your Vaadin Charts license, you can purchase it today with 20% discount at vaadin.com/charts. So remember the code, it's valid today, so you should go online and purchase your license now. And what else, Matti?
I think that's enough for this time.
2 crashes, few demo effects, whole hour webinar. Thank you so much for Torstein for your participation.
Thank you for having me.
And good luck with the Olympics for the last the Rallies 11.
I think Finland is the one who needs to...
Good luck to you.
We'll see what happens on this week at the Winter Olympics. But anyways, it's good to be in cooperation with Highsoft. We appreciate it a lot. And thanks for your participation here. And the conversation continues at Vaadin forum as well. So we'll create the questions and answers there as well. And you can post them on. And
yeah, that's it.
That's pretty much about it. Thank you from Vaadin Studios. Bye-bye, Torstein. Bye-bye, rest of the world.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.